So there's no peace education in Vietnam. Instead, it's called moral education, and it's been made after educational reformation from the Vietnam War, because Vietnam War, the French occupied and controlled the education system, which did not provide enough to usual people, only to the elites, and it was mainly in French. So Ho Chi Minh, former Prime Minister of Vietnam, led the country to become independent from all the residual education by teaching communist values as well as Confucianist values, and it's more relevant to Vietnamese culture that way, and it also taught people to have critical thinking as well as diverse ways of thinking.
So now I'd like to talk about Taiwan's approach towards human dignity and peace. First of all, there are a few challenges in the Taiwanese education, and there are three main points I'd like to discuss. So pressure regarding test scores and studying. There is bullying, so the feeling of inadequacy compared to other students, and the fact of inequity, so the lack of opportunities to learn for some students because of economical backgrounds and issues. However, there are also very good improvements in the Taiwanese education, and one of the foundations that should be thanked for this is the Alliance Cultural Foundation, that promotes and aids preservation of Taiwan's indigenous land and people. And so through activities for youth, but not only, anyone can join, there's cooking, planting, and exploring lands and oceans in order to promote not only peace between people, but also the dignity of human beings.
So now I'll be talking about peace education in Singapore. What I found about Singapore's peace education is that it's mostly promoted through primary and secondary education using a subject called CCE. CCE stands for Character and Citizenship Education, and it helps integrate morals such as respect, responsibility, and harmony within their education. I found CCE to be an important part of Singapore's education because Singapore is a very diverse country and in the past has had many conflict among ethnic groups. So teaching students how to treat others can create a more harmonious society. However, some of the challenges for CCE and peace education in Singapore is that because the system is very strict and competitive, it's seen as a less significant subject compared to the core subject that's necessary to pass an exam and pursue tertiary education. Also, some students have voiced that the goal of CCE is unclear and not seen as an academic subject. However, the Ministry of Education in Singapore is trying to make adjustments and changes within CCE so that it can be a valuable subject in all schools.
When Japanese national education systems began to first appear, it was under a nationalist program within the scope of the Meiji Restoration and the following Showa expansionist era. However, things significantly changed after the end of World War II as the Japanese population, traumatized by the horrors of bombing, starvation, and military failures, formally renounced militarism in favor of a constitutionally bound ideal of pacifism. This was then reflected in Japanese education, with peace education emerging to ensure the memories of war not be forgotten, and to instill the values of pacifism and human dignity in the younger generations. This form of peace education with a focus on human dignity can still be seen in regional cases to this day, such as in Okinawa and Hiroshima, both sites of terrible mass tragedies that invite students from all across Japan to understand firsthand the experience of the war by going to locations scarred by the war and listening to firsthand accounts from survivors.